Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I've got the latest in the XD series from Springfield Armory, the XD Mod 3, and I've got the refresh of the SD9 from Smith & Wesson, the SD9 2.0. Please don't forget to check out our website. Go to our affiliates page. You'll find discount codes for things like Mantis Axe and Core belts, linked to that cool little bore light that we use for lighting up the barrels. Use those links, it will often save you money, never will cost you any additional money, and helps the channel. And please consider supporting the channel on Player, formerly Utreon, where we can do some types of videos that are no longer allowed on YouTube. The XD series has been around for quite a while and has gone through a couple evolutions. As I mentioned, this is a Mod 3. They had the original XD, then the Mod 2, and then now the Mod 3. And these are both 9mm handguns, and it comes with one 16-round magazine. And the XD magazines are different from the XDM magazines, so there are quite a bit of availability of the magazines because it'll work with any of the older XD magazines, but not the XDM magazines. It's a nice looking pistol. It's got all of the ergonomic features that you're looking for today, and nothing about it would tell you that this is meant to be more of an economy-oriented handgun. It's got all the features that you would expect on more pricey handguns. The SD has also been around for a very long time, but it really hasn't gone through much of an evolution. You had the SD9, and now you've got the SD9 2.0. It's just basically the new version, and there's a long gap in between. But they have significantly refreshed it and added quite a few ergonomics, but it's very basic. It doesn't really have any extended features. It does have nice front serrations. They're easy to get a hold of. Nice rear serrations. A little bit of texturing on the top to cut down glare, and of course it does have a silver slide. If I go back to the XD, it also has front serrations. They're a little more stylish and a little easier to get a hold of, and at the back they have this shelf where it kind of protrudes out so that if your fingers do slide, they're going to catch that shelf at the back. So I would say the serrations are a little easier to use on the XD, but these serrations are functional and they do get their job done. They both have a Picatinny rail, a 3-slot on the XD and a 2-slot on the SD9. Number of slots really isn't important anymore. Glock has kind of changed the world with their single slot, and everything will fit. Pretty much all you need is one slot. But you do get 3 on the XD. They both have a flatty style trigger with the inertial toggle. Both of them have internal drop safeties. The XD does have a grip safety. All of the XD pistols, the XDM, all have the grip safety. That's not present on the SD9. Neither of these have replaceable back straps. It's one of the things you do give up for the less expensive line. And while I'm talking about less expensive, the XD has an MSRP of $325, but I'm seeing them routinely under $300. The SD9 has an MSRP of $350, but I'm also seeing them under $300. So in practical purposes, the price is about the same on both of them, and they both come with one magazine. From a sights perspective, the XD has a fiber optic red front sight, real easy to see, and a 2-dot rear sight, so you end up with a 3-dot configuration. The SD9 has big white dots, but they're just white painted dots on the sights, but they're also quite easy to see and easy to use. So I would say both of these have effective sights. The fiber optic on the front side of the XD is a nice feature because when you get it under good lighting, it really lights up nice. One of the big things the XD offers that the Smith & Wesson doesn't is it's optics ready. It's a direct mount system. I'm sorry, no, it's a plate system, but the plates are readily available because all of the XD prior version plates will work with it. The SD9 does not offer a optics ready. So that's one big advantage I would say the XD has, is if you want to put an optic on it, the XD comes ready for it. In the Smith & Wesson does not. Smith & Wesson has a witness hole for a loaded chamber indicator, and the XD has this little protrude when there's a round in the chamber. So they both have that feature. Both of them are easy to live with. They're both easy to disassemble and maintain, and both of them have been reliable. I do have a lot of history with the XDM series, and they've just been proven to be reliable. The SD9, I've had less experience with it. This is the first SD9 I've had, but it's been reliable. The one that's in my hand has been reliable, and I really haven't heard of any issues with that line from Smith & Wesson. So both of these have a history of reliability. So let's talk about the triggers. Both, as I mentioned, have a flatty style trigger, a little bit of take up, and then kind of a defined but wall that you pull through. No creep, but it's not a sharp, crisp wall. It's more of a nicely defined wall that you pull through. Resets almost all the way out with a little take up to get back on the wall. The overall trigger travel is short, so that's not a big deal. And then again, you pull through a kind of a nice defined wall to the brake, and there is an over travel stop built into the trigger. So now if we move to the trigger on the Smith & Wesson, again, it's a flatty trigger, a little less take up to get to the wall, but there's a little bit of kind of vagueness, a little bit of creep once you actually start to feel the wall to actually get to the real wall. Then it's a very crisp short brake. Reset is all the way out. Again, you kind of pull through this kind of vagueness to get to the actual real wall, which then once you get there is crisp and defined and a nice short brake. I would say when it comes to triggers, the XD beats the Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson's got a nice trigger. It's functional. It worked well at the range. But that vagueness can be a little disconcerting, whereas the XD does not have that. The trigger is much clearer and cleaner overall. So, you know, if I'm looking at triggers, I would preference towards the XD. From dimensions are not really going to make a difference. So weight is 27 ounces on the XD and 22.7 on the SD9. That's the one spec that might make a difference, because that's actually kind of a noticeable amount. You can feel that the XD is heavier. But as far as the other dimensions, XD is 7.3 front to back, 7.2 on the SD9, 5.5 tall for both of them from the top down to the flush magazine, and 1.2 on the XD and 1.29 on the SD9. So SD9 is just a little bit thicker, but it's a total of, you know, just under 1/10 of an inch. So of all the different numeric specs, I would say the weight is probably the one that may influence you one way or another. And from a function perspective, I would say that the trigger on the XD would probably lean you toward the XD Mod 3. Sights are comparable and other features are relatively comparable, and the prices are almost identical, so price really isn't going to make the difference here. And in this particular matchup, I would say the XD has enough things going for it at the same price. The optics ready cut and a little bit better trigger, fiber optic front sight, that it kind of pulls ahead. So of the two, I don't think you'd go wrong with either one of them, but of the two, I would definitely pick the XD Mod 3, because it does kind of differentiate itself enough to make a difference in my mind to make me pick this one over the others. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Player, Rumble. We're pretty much everywhere. And thank you.